I'm going to open up these re-releases, remakes of the 1988 Ninja Turtles action figures. These are Walmart exclusive on this carding. Now, I was only 2 or 3 years old when I was watching the first Ninja Turtle cartoon at the very end of 1987. Getting more episodes in 1988 when this toy line originally released. You can see here my original turtles that I would have been playing with. You can see they're quite used, and so the reason I'm getting these redos, even though I have the original, is because this is about all that's left of their weapons. Only one side for Raph.
I lost the side!
So mostly I've been looking for weapons to finish up my turtles. These come with their full weapon rack. But then also we'll have a fresh kind of figure as well, not kind of beat up like these are. I would have played with these for years and years because the TV show ran for a long time, and the toy line did too. I was so young playing with these, I don't know if a cat chewed on this or if I did. So for these, I'm saying these are probably better kept on the card, actually. I usually open everything, but since these are kind of recreations of the original line, they really should just be left on the card because this is a really awesome recreation of kind of the original card with the kind of original comics and origins and things, and you got this kind of comical bio page, birthplace, there's always this weird different pet store and new ham shell. Oh, hilarious. I think it was just awesome, this original line, they had custom card backs for each character. So you have Raph all over them in the cards. So that's why one of the few times I actually advocate keeping on the card. But I'm going to open it up for you so you can see what's inside. And we'll start with Raph. Apparently you're supposed to open it from the bottom technically. But let's open it like a small child and rip it like this, like a fool. Because, that's how you would have opened it as a kid, right? Yeah. Oosh. So probably a little different than the originals here. He's strapped in. And we'll point out any other differences. So this is the main thing I really wanted. I don't know why anybody isn't 3D printing these, recreating the little weapon racks, because they're just like a model kit would come where it's like, hey, you take it off the plastic. And they've kind of done it where it is like a weapon rack. It has notches that you can kind of lay the weapons in, and you could kind of keep every part of this for the most part once you get all the weapons out. But here I've got the size back again to replace the originals that are obviously kind of chewed up and used and played with a lot. Let's take a look at the figure. So I did always like that they had their own custom kind of gear, belts, that they're specific to their individual weapon. And I wanted to start with Raph here, just to show the legs. Barely move around in there. They're mostly side to side. There's not a whole lot of turn forward other than kind of get a rudimentary sitting position, but not much. Just like the original, really. Does have some foot pegs at the bottom. The arms were pretty interesting for the time. They go all the way around, but then there's kind of an elbow-ish, but turn, not a joint. They kind of wield the weapons. And then the head. Of course, these are hard heads. My originals are hard as well. I never had these supposed soft heads. But right off the bat here you can see this kind of more stronger shade of green on the original toy, and this is a little lighter, a little softer, not quite exact, which is why I was kind of leaning toward maybe just still displaying my originals but rating the weapons of these newer ones. Also not quite as vibrant of color on the letter belt. Yeah, overall they're kind of more faint of color, and the heads are just ever so slightly bigger, I suppose, but everything else is fairly recreated here. It's just that kind of lack of color, which is kind of sad. But they are just kind of a fresh appearance. Of course, these have been re-released several times since now. This isn't the first re-release here. It even is printed 2013, probably one of the first times they recreated the molds like this. So let's go ahead and get weapons. I think maybe you just want to maybe snip it off. You could just kind of twist and break. Of course, my parents probably even sanded down the little edges so I wouldn't cut myself way back then. So you can just kind of do the banding till it gets loosened. A little less debris, then you kind of do the twist off method. Two sides, back again. So again, he's got kind of his custom gear here that you can put the two sides in the front. What I always liked about Raphael, had the spot for the sides in the front, but on the back he's got a weapon holster spot. I believe this little pizza slice kind of weapon here, I'm sure there's some sort of ninja weapon name for it. Anybody else just like these weapons I just never really used. I mean, they weren't the ones they used on the show or anything like that. The Ninja Stars were cool, but they're so small, I mean, they got lost very quickly. But Raph could actually store one of the specialty weapons there right in the back. Boom, he's got a backup weapon right there. Pretty great. Great to have the weapons fully stocked again, but just kind of the reduced coloring kind of hurts. But you can kind of have a set of turtles in the party wagon, the van now, and you can have some out for display. Not sure which way I'll go, if we'll put out the newer ones or put the newer ones in maybe the party wagon. We shall see. Also, Raph's feet are both flat. Make note of that. And so the weapon thing actually has kind of these feet here at the bottom that you can kind of stand it up and keep the weapons there, or if you get them off the plastic here, there's knobs in the front here and they'll kind of lay here as a display. Had I known that, because I probably threw my original away, because these are all lost, the original. We got Donatello here. Actually grabbed an extra that got kind of ripped, so we don't have to feel as bad opening this one up because it's already damaged. Because again, I think these are way better on the card because they have all these bio stuff and you can see everything in here. You can see the whole figure, all the accessories, perfect display, and then they all have the custom carding. So yeah, that comes off way smoother when you open from the bottom. Nobody told me this as a child. I get a paper cut though. A little smoother of the card. I always kept the cards as a kid because they had all this great art on them. I have a little box full of action figure card backs. Big long bow staff weapons for Donatello. Same articulation as Raph, of course, but as I noted there, all the other turtles have this kind of weird foot here that, you get less space to stand on. They're kind of less stable, harder to stand, because you kind of have to make sure that part is the flat down. Not sure why they went with that. Some of them have the other side. They just kind of have the same parts, but they've swapped things around, like the mouth. Raph and Donatello have the both side with the teeth. Leo and Michelangelo you'll see with just one side, just to kind of differentiate them. Here he's got this dark, almost brown with this figure. The original has more of a green tint to it still. Again, these are, and then they're really smoothed out. This is a little harsher lines, so it's interesting that they didn't color match as closely as I would have thought. But here we can see, damage on my original Donatello, that his bow staff holder is torn off because just so much play. Here we can see that he can store one long bow here in the back. He's kind of got this bigger strap thing too. Michelangelo and Raphael just have a belt. Leo and Don have this kind of suspender piece. Again, probably better just to use the twisting method than cutting off and getting a big chunk of plastic. Twist too. We can hold it, or this might be a little tight. And he does come with two bow staffs, so he can store one as such, which does look cool in the back sticking out there. Then he can be holding one as well. But no extra spots to store other weapons like Raph, which is why Raph was always kind of my favorite. So most of the time it was mostly based on the color, I do like red. But, here on this channel I use red and purple, so Don's kind of a number 2 there for me with, especially in the video games with his reach in a lot of the games and stuff, since you're doing more than you're watching the cartoon. You got the toys, there's games. It was a big deal, so I want to have these Ninja Turtles in my collection again. Refurbished turtles. Go with old Leonardo here. Again, all the specific artwork and things I do have an extra Raphael I'm keeping on the card, just to at least have one on the card still. Playmates had some good artwork for this line. The cartoon definitely came out first, so kids were pretty ready for this toy line when it came out. I don't know how many extra they had to make of the first wave of Ninja Turtles from all the selling out. Straps are annoying on these, but they are good for if you're keeping it on the card, as I recommend. Fresh swords, katanas for Leonardo here. Pretty flimsy blades, not that thick of a plastic, so you gotta be careful. These I just kind of give a twist. What a twist. Leonardo here, which I think he has pretty good coloring compared to the original. He's a very close match. If you like Leo, he got some good treatment here. He's got a very accurate color. A little bigger head, but I feel like that does no disservice to the figures to have a bigger head. And again, damage on the original. just from being so young and playing with these for years and years. Can't hold the katanas very well, not that I only have the one. Pretty close, other than, again, kind of less color on the chest there. Other parts are just kind of more faded. I'm not sure why they went with the weird smaller foot thing. It would have been all easier to stand if they would have just all had the Raphael style feet. Another harder one to do. To stand up. I think they just wanted some kind of action looking, you know, he's stepping forward to attack. With old Leo, we got holster for the sword, which you do have to be careful with these, because it's pretty flimsy. And he has kind of a cross here, so which one is going under or over? And to be careful there. I'd have him stick up a little more so you can maybe see that he has his swords ready at the front, ready to pull out. Pretty sweet double katanas too. That's what I always kind of liked about the turtles, that they were all dual wielders as well, so not just one sword. He's quite ready with the two. Like, whoa, that's some attack power there. Yeah! I guess I haven't shown the hands. You know, the weapons do just fit pretty nicely in there. Almost kind of have a little bit of a snap, so they really hold in place. They're not going to fall out. Of course, with more play and stuff, they might stretch and be a little more loose. We have Michelangelo. Mikey is here. I have no surviving nunchuck for Mikey of my original, but looking good with all his custom artwork. Got to open it up for you so you can check them out. A little bit differently packed in there, the way they angle the figure in the weapon racks. Nunchuck weapons, and with thick attachments to the side. These nunchuck weapons, you do have to be careful because it's just a little thin thing of plastic there. We got old Mikey here. Again, kind of not as strong of color of, you know, the chest or the lettering. Again, these are very old. Look how vibrant the chest and belt buckle colors are in comparison. But it's another one that is a little faded, but a lot closer to that original coloring of Mikey. This kind of strong green color here. His back piece intact, a little stronger there, but I've lost the nunchucks, so he doesn't have any nunchucks. But just the side mouth, just to kind of make them a little different than the others. And so with the nunchucks, we can kind of stick these in. Then they're being stored bent as well, which is only maybe weakening the plastic. I'm sure that's what happened to my originals, is they probably broke. He can store his double nunchucks there. Not quite as cool for him to store them because you can't like see them up at the front, you know, like Leo's sword handles or Don's staff sticking out the back. Of course, Raph has his right in the front handy. You'd think Michelangelo probably would, but I guess there's not a lot of space. It'd be a little cramped at the front there, but... Do not use the holsters on the back of Michelangelo. Just having them in there caused the strap to snap on its own, just in the holster, folded. Wasn't even bent that much, but it snapped just from time. So do not use that. Just have him hold the nunchucks. I'm already one nunchuck down, even though the weapons are pretty much the reason I bought these. Of course, every kid used to take them off. I always left them on mine because obviously it was far handier to have them on there that they can store their weapon, which was genius. And also it makes the turtle look kind of goofy without their belt. But the same kind of one peg there. Wield the nunchucks like this, or I always like to have holding it with both hands. Looked pretty cool, and then he's got a backup in the back. So I really liked getting these reprints just to have a fresh figure. More importantly, getting the fresh weapons for my original turtles, so not sure which one I'll really display. I do like the more vibrant colors of the original figures, although there is some damage to my original figures here and there. Paint chips and then some of the holstering, but typically I would want to be posing them holding the weapons instead of with the holstered weapons. Not sure what to do with all the ninja stars and all these. Maybe the other set of turtles can be holding some of the wackier weapons. I don't know if there's really ever a way to hold the ninja star, but they were always cool to throw around. There's a weapon in the Ninja Turtle video game, so I did like that in some ways. It's probably why they're all lost, because I actually use these versus whatever the weird hook and handled weapons are. I do wish I would have had some instruction on keeping them back in the day. I might have not lost my weapons if I had these cool little weapon racks like this. Didn't know that was the function of those. And if you do pull off the weapons or the original turtle weapons, there's these little notches here. Kind of lay on there and display the weapons this way. Lesser known feature of the Ninja Turtle figures, I feel. At least it was for me. So ultimately I would recommend just keeping these on the card just because they look so much better there, and you can see all the figure and all the accessories in the little window, in the bubble. But here they are all opened up too, if you want to crack these open, if you're wanting to keep them in your collection, have fresh turtles, or if you're wanting to gift them so a kid can have the original Ninja Turtle action figures for themselves. They seem fairly sturdy. I mean, I didn't break my original turtles, I lost the weapons. As long as they're careful, I was like 2 or 3, so that was probably a little too young to be giving these. Packaging is saying 4 and up, but even then you'll probably lose the accessories is the problem. Why does nobody 3D print replacement accessories for the turtle? Free idea out there. Recreate them. I'd love to have extra sets to have stored in the holsters and that they could hold. It'd be awesome to have a double set, really load out your figures. So I do like nostalgia collecting older toys and things like that, and these remakes that give you a fresh version so you don't have to hunt down old originals. And I collect newer collectibles as well, figures and of all sorts. So leave a like if you like seeing me crack open all these Ninja Turtles. And plenty more to open here, especially since we can probably open up this party wagon here in the next video if you'd like. Get subscribed so you don't miss it.